Yo, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video. It's been a little bit. Took another little break, brushed up on some stuff, but I am back, and in this one, I'm just gonna talk about kind of my goals or things I want to work on in 2026. Yeah, and in case you're wondering, I'm drawing Nijiri from My Hero. Just kind of a random sketch I did one night. I think it came out alright. It's a little weird, but I like it. But yeah, so I've kind of mentioned some of these goals or things I want to work on in some other videos, but I thought it'd be cool to mention them all in one video, especially, considering it is January of 2026. So yeah, so the first one I have is to learn traditional art. Wow, I know, crazy. But yeah, I've always wanted to learn how to draw traditionally, specifically, and I do think it has a lot of benefits, and I believe if you want to be a very versatile and I guess fundamentally solid artist, I do think you should learn traditional art. That is my opinion. I could make another whole video about that. But yeah, so that's the basic one, learn traditional art. Yeah, the second one is, and I mentioned this in other videos as well, is I want my drawings to have more story or context or like backgrounds in them. And kind of what I mean by that, you can actually see there's actually a perfect example in the video. So if you look on the top left, that is another drawing of Najira I did, and she's sitting in a classroom. Well, not really a classroom, but at a desk, and there's like pencils and papers and stuff, and she's just kind of thinking. But I really like that drawing because I feel like there's like kind of an emotion to it. There's background, there's context to it. There's kind of like a little story going on with that drawing, instead of just a random character in a random pose with no backgrounds or anything. They're just kind of existing there, and there's nothing wrong with that, and I love doing that. But I really want my drawings to have more of a, like I was saying, like a story, or I don't know, purpose. I don't know if that's the right word, but like basically just have a feeling or context or some sort of background. And speaking of which, I think in order to make drawings that have more of a story and context to them, I need to learn how to draw backgrounds. So yeah, those two kind of go hand in hand, and that's why I did that drawing there. So yeah, definitely want to work on my background skills. And then to actually bounce off of that as well, I think another skill that goes with this is putting characters in scenes. So like drawing a scene and then putting a character in that scene. That's another thing. I mean, that's kind of what I just said, but like that's kind of what I mean by that. And I guess also like character interactions would be another one. So like having maybe like two characters like talking to each other, or expressing something visually to each other, or something like that. Yeah, so that's kind of that one. And that is a big one for me. Very big one. So I definitely am going to try on that one pretty hard. And then next I have is just kind of general improvements. I think every artist always has that. Want to get better at shading, anatomy, proportions, perspective, blah blah blah, kind of the fundamental stuff. But I guess if I really had to pick like one of those to be more specific, I'd say I really want to get better at perspective, because perspective is what allows you to create interesting and dynamic poses, and I would like to be able to do that. So although I do want to improve all around, if I had to specifically pick a area where I want to improve, I'd say perspective for sure. And then after that, I'd probably say like proportions, and then after that faces, and then expressions, and then hands and feet. I could go on and on, but yeah, definitely want to just obviously improve my skills overall, and really get my traditional art to a solid level, because I really do like drawing traditionally, and I really do believe that it is the way to establish a very solid fundamental base for drawing. And what I mean by that is, personally, I feel like if you can learn how to draw traditionally on paper with, just pencil, eraser, and like some sort of pen or ink, you'll be able to draw on any medium, basically. So like, if you learn how to draw traditionally, you'll be able to draw just as well digitally, or not even just on like paper, but I don't know, like on whiteboards or just anywhere. But I do believe that if you only draw digitally, and then you try and go to traditional, you might struggle a little bit, and you might have to relearn, or maybe not relearn, but refine how you approach drawing. And the reason I say that is because that's just been my experience, because when I started drawing, I was digital only, and I'm gonna make a video about this, and I've said it in my other videos, but I learned to rely on the tools, aka the undo button and the lasso or /warp tool, to make my art look somewhat decent, instead of understanding why it looks wrong and how to fix it. And I definitely want to do a video on that, and that's why I believe that learning traditional is very important. And besides that, I just want to learn it. I think traditional art has a very, very unique feel to it, and it can look really, really fantastic when it's well done. And artists who can make just amazing art with like just a pencil and an eraser really inspire me. So yeah, that's a pretty big one for me as well. And then next one I have is learn how to ink. So pretty self-explanatory, but I want to learn how to use a G pen. Basically, when I say learn how to ink, it's more like learn how to make manga, or so I definitely want to do more drawings with the G pen and get used to inking, and learn how to use like whiteout and all that stuff. And I've done it before in the past, but I haven't really inked that much. But yeah, so that's another big one for me. I guess I didn't put it on. I have a little list in front of me. I didn't put it on here, but learning how to write as well. Not sure how far I'll get into that, but I definitely want to get better at, I kind of said this already, but creating stories, which obviously involves writing. And that's a very big one for me. Pretty self-explanatory though, I'd say otherwise. We'll see how far I get in that. And then the last one, which I also have mentioned in other videos, is create a one-shot. And for those of you who don't know what a one-shot is, it's basically just a short story. It's a story in a single chapter, if I remember correctly. I definitely want to, that's obviously going to be like an end of the year kind of thing. That's a long-term goal, I suppose, not just for 2026. All of these really aren't just for 2026, they're long-term goals, but definitely something I want to do, or I want to at least attempt, and hopefully I can make that happen this year. We'll see. But yeah, that's definitely like my end game, kind of like magnum opus kind of goal, I guess. But yeah, that's mostly it. There's obviously more. I do want to, and I've mentioned this before, I want to also at some point get back into doing digital art. I don't know when that will be, and I don't know like when it'll happen or when I'll record it. I'm in the process of getting a digital setup that I like. I haven't drawn digitally in like months, by the way. I doodle a little bit on my phone, if you want to count that as digital, which I guess it is, but I really haven't drawn digitally in months. So I do want to get back into that, but as I said, once I'm comfortable drawing traditionally. But yeah, so that, I mean, that's pretty much it. There's obviously more more goals and whatnot, but hopefully you guys you know, well, you guys can watch me and, you know, stick around and maybe give me suggestions or whatever. Definitely want to get back into making content. I had a little bit of a slump, I guess, because I hurt my arm. I hurt my right arm, but I have been doing a lot of stretching and arm strength training, and it's really helped. Like, my right arm feels so much better than it did like a month ago, and it doesn't, like, I mean, it still feels a little like not great here and there, but oh my god, the difference between now and like a month ago is insane, just from doing like basic arm strength training, like lifting dumbbells. That's literally all I've been doing. I've just been doing dumbbell exercises, and I've obviously been stretching it, and when, you know, not overdoing it when I know I shouldn't be. But my arm feels so much better. I feel like I can actually draw again, because I felt like I couldn't afford to draw like a month ago, or not a month ago, like a couple weeks ago, just because my arm didn't feel good at all. But yeah, we're coming up to the end here, so make sure to do all that YouTube stuff. Like, subscribe, comment, and not sure what my next video will be, but I appreciate you guys watching. And yeah, I'm gonna go now. I never know how to end these, so yeah, goodbye.